Hey guys, welcome back to another getting started with web development tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be talking about the CSS box layout, what it is and why it's useful for us. So just going to call this box layout, then as usual create a index.html and just create our thing here. So the box layout is basically how you actually position things in CSS. So in a previous tutorial we actually talked about the grid layout, and that's more about like the big picture, whereas the box model is used to actually determine like which items, how they be positioned next to other items and things like that. So what I'm going to do is first I'm actually going to open this over here, not that, I want to go here, and I'm actually going to create let's just create something like a div. So let's give this a ID of div1, and then let's put some content inside. So I'm just going to call this div1 content, and then up here I'm actually going to just do it in some inline CSS. Right, this isn't inline but kind of. Anyways, we'll reference div1 and let's specify a height of 400 pixels and a width of 400 pixels, and let's also give it a background color just so we can see it. So let's have something like cyan. Okay, so this is our div1. So the first thing you'll notice is there's actually a white line around it, and there's actually kind of some padding around it, and that's basically caused by the body's box model padding. So I'll talk about the box model. Basically, box model is this over here. So you have margin, border, padding, and then the actual elements like size. So what's creating this white border is the body's margin, which you can see goes around the entire thing. I don't know if I can select it, but you can see it goes around the entire body, and that's what causes these divs to be to have some kind of pattern around them. So to get rid of that, what we can actually do is reference the body, and then we can just set the margin to 0, and now you'll see the div is right against the edge of a container. So margin basically controls things to the side of your thing, to your elements. So if we make another div right next to this, and let's just have div2, I'm just going to put div2 content, and then I'm going to just copy and paste this, and let's give it a different background color. Let's do red. Okay, so you can see that div2 is right against div1, and we might want that to be a bit different. We might want that to be a small space. So I know you could use a BR tag, but I want to actually show you guys how margin works. So margin is actually a space which surrounds the element. So if we want to create a space between div1 and div2, we can actually just apply a margin to either one of these. So I'm going to do it to div1, and what I'm going to do is just add a margin to the bottom of it, and let's add a 10 pixels, and now I can see a 10 pixel margin has appeared. And if we inspect div1, you'll see that it actually shows the margin of 10 pixels. Just ignore the margin to the right. I think that's just caused by how it actually renders it, but if you want to ignore that, like you see it doesn't actually show it here, so that's just how it renders it. But you should be focusing on the bottom margin which we've just created. So that's basically margin, and it's basically space around it. So if you don't want anything to come within a certain area of it, then you just put some margin on it and then nothing will go in. And now padding is actually on the inside. So let me just make this a bit of a lighter color so you can see it better. I'm just going to do orange. So you can see that this div2 content is right against the edges of this div container, and if you want to change that, what you can do, you can actually give some padding. So padding's kind of like the opposite of margin. It's on the inside of the div. So if we want to have div2 be a bit like have some space around it, then what we can do is actually add padding to the div2. So I'm just going to do padding left to actually show you guys how it works. So let's just add some padding on the left of it, and let's add 10 pixels, and you can see that now it's actually inlined by 10 pixels. And if we go over here, you can see that it shows that green margin, and I'm actually just going to apply it to all of them. So to do that, you can just give it to all of them, and you'll also notice that padding actually adds some size to it. So now you can see, even though we've defined both of them as 400 pixels by 400 pixels, you can see that div 2 is actually a bit larger than that, and that's because, I think it's because the padding actually increases its width based on how much padding it has. So I know there's a way of like stopping this from happening. I'm not too sure. I think you have to use something like display inline block or something. I'm just gonna try that, but I'm not too sure, so let's just try that. And yeah, I don't think I know what it is. Let me try block as well. Nah, I know there's something to do that, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, what you can do to avoid this if you want it to be the same height is you can actually just use calc. So if we go over to here and do calc 400 pixels minus 20 pixels, and same thing for up here. And then what you could imagine doing is you could actually have a variable for this padding, which I'll make a video on in the future, CSS variables. But you can see that we've actually just removed it, and now they're actually the same height. So yeah, thanks. That's basically it. And then the other things like border, if I just add a border to div 2, so let's just add a border of like 10 pixels solid black, and now you can see that the border has also increased its size. So now all of these things actually increase its size. Padding and border both increase its size because if you think about it, they're actually on the inside, whereas margins on the outside. So that's why these two actually increase the size of it. But yeah, you can see that the border is shown here, and once again that pushes items away. So yeah, that was basically the CSS box model. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a future tutorial. Bye.